Hello, and welcome. I know you guys can see me, so if you're jumping on, please say hi. You guys over here are taking a little longer, but yay, here we are. Good to see you. If you're watching me here from my personal page, first of all, hello, personal page. Second of all, you want to come over to those two sisters, time to shine. So it's those, the number 2 sisters, and then time, the number 2 to shine. If you're already here, welcome. It's great to see you. And the topic for today's session is time to be happy again. Sometimes we lose ourselves to life, and that might be kids, partners, work, job, your business, whatever it is for you. You can lose yourself there. So we lose ourselves to life and we put on a brave face for the rest of the world. But really, what people don't know, and we wouldn't tell anybody, especially not in the world of social media, is that we're really breaking on the inside, that we're really isolated, we're really lonely, we're really struggling with life. And you know what? There's a lot of people that out there that are feeling this way. So regardless of whether you are a multi-million-dollar heir and you've got all the money in the world, whether you own the yachts and the super yachts and the mansion at the coast, or you're starting on this journey from the very beginning, what we want for you is, regardless of what you have in life on the external, is this deep feeling of fulfillment on the inside and success on the inside before we even get outside to the relationship, outside to the finances, outside to the business, outside to whatever we're using as a metric of success or happiness. What we want for you is to feel that on the inside first. So as I said over here in the description, basically so many people come to Michelle and I, hello everybody who's jumped on, Michelle and I, so many people come to us and they say, we want what you're having, like whatever you're on, apart from cacao. I just made my afternoon cacao. Who else here is having cacao? I see Jody's on. Hey JMP, Jody Michelle Perry, evolution coach from Port Douglas. Cacao, oh, that's so good, so good. Whatever it is for you, we need to help you discover and uncover so we can really light your world up. So just digressing for a moment and going back to what most of us are doing, and you may not even realize that you're doing this. You're putting on this happy face, this brave face. You're taking the action, you're doing the thing. You might already be working with a coach, but there's this deep down gnawing feeling of unhappiness, like you're just not there yet. And so a few things that you can do in order to re-invite this fulfillment and love into your life before any of the external things. Who wants to know? Who wants to know what we're taking? How we can do this? Tell me. I'm going to make you guys work for this. Tell me. Over here, if you're on my personal page, let me know who's here. Facebook doesn't tell me anymore. I want to see who I'm chatting to if you're watching this later. Hashtag replay. Over here, good to see you guys. I see Sandy's on. You must be in your lunch break. Hey, love. Oh, Helen is on. Good to see you. So we are high on life. We are high on cacao. But also, part of the reason that Michelle and I together can exude and share this deep feeling and expression of fulfillment and being happy is for a couple of reasons, but I believe one of the biggest ones is because we're living a life on purpose to our soul's desires. Now let me say that again. We are living a life on purpose to our soul's desires. Don't let that terminology turn you off, because it can be like a bit of a mouthful. But basically, you are all here on this earth for something. And what happens, for something bigger than ourselves. And what happens a lot of the time is our parents bring us up and they think they're doing the right thing, teaching us their values. Well, often it's not even their values. It's somebody who taught them or raised them or protected them. They're teaching us subconsciously their values. So we start living a life doing the things that they told us to do. And we want to make our parents proud, and we want that feeling of importance, because that's inherently as part of being human, this feeling of wanting to feel important and make our parents proud. So we start to do the things from a very young age to make our parents proud. And then we get to an age and we finish, usually you'll go to school, you'll finish high school, And you tell me, what'd you do? What'd you do after you finished high school? Most of you would have finished high school, some didn't, but let me know if you did. What did you do after that? Because what would happen most of the time is you'll follow the same footpath as your parents did. Or you'll do the exact opposite. So one of two things. You'll do what they did and what they expect, or you'll do the exact opposite. So Michelle went to university. She was always the smart one, the clever one. I was the sporty one, which meant to me that if I was the sporty one and she was a smart one, my brain told me that meant that I was the dumb one. And then she used to think she wasn't the sporty one. So it's just funny how our brains do this to her. She was always really good at sport, but she compared herself to me, and I was exceptional at sport. And likewise, we did it the other way around. I was always clever, but I compared myself to Michelle, who was exceptionally clever. So watch where you're comparing yourself to someone, and it's not even relevant. We are all of the things, and you get to choose it. So have a look at what you did after school. And then most of us went into a job. Yes, a university, went and got a job, because probably that's what the message is coming thing. That's what your parents did, or that's what your parents wanted you to do. So anytime you hear yourself say the language, so something else that both Michelle and I do is we exercise most mornings. We tune in and listen to our bodies, but most of the time we're out there and we're moving our body some way that feels good. Now, the reason that we can do that is because it aligns with our values and our purpose. Back when someone told me I should be doing it, if you're using the word should, ought to, have to, all those sort of words, it means it's coming from somebody else's set of values. So we have to help you get so crystal and crisp and clear on what your values are and what your, got to get rid of all those messages coming through, what your purpose in this life is. When you get to wake up on purpose every single morning, your life will change. It will open up. You'll get so much more space. You'll get so much more energy. You will be feeling inherently happy on the inside. And that is before you start making any money. That is before you meet the magic partner. That is before you have a family and kids. That is before anything that is exterior to you. When you can start to feel that, that's when everything else starts to fall into place. Most people do it the other way around. So you've had whatever journey that you've went on. If you're watching this later, hashtag replay and let me know where you're from and where you're watching this. So you've had your journey up until now, and I don't know if I've explained it pretty well, but if you're having this deep feeling of feeling unsettled or not happy, it's probably because you have lived a life or you've chosen a path subconsciously. You haven't consciously chosen this path. You've just kind of fallen into it. And you get to react every day. You're reacting every day. You've got to get up. I remember the days where I'd finished school. I traveled for 2 years. And then I came back and I got a job as a receptionist. I started right down the bottom and I worked my way up. But I was miserable and I didn't even know it. The hard thing for me was I was surrounded by other miserable people. It was the norm to feel miserable. And the biggest challenge for me was I just didn't even know it. I just thought it was normal. I actually didn't even really think anything about it. I just knew that I was overweight. I knew that my body hurt. I knew that I was tired all the time. I knew that I complained a lot. Like I just complained all the time. And I just knew I wasn't happy. Like there was this feeling on the exterior from everybody outside looking in. You know, I looked happy enough. I appeared, you know, I had a good job. I had a good wage. I was working my way up the ranks. I was going to a job every day. But yeah, what happened for me is I realized that I'd taken that job because that's what society had told me to do. There was at no point did I ever ask myself, what do I love to do? Who do I love to hang around? What do I want to be, have, and do in my life? I just knew I had to go get the job. I had to earn an income and I had to pay the bills. And that was at the deep subconscious level. Therefore, my behaviors reflected that. And that is why I was so miserable, because I was doing all the things everybody else was telling me or society was telling me that I should have been doing. So I want you to cast your eye over your life now and see where you're out of alignment. Now, this is not to call anybody else out. It is not to point the finger at anybody. But what I do hope to do is gently bring some awareness around the time and the space and the decisions that you are making on a daily basis that are not in alignment with your higher self. So think of it like this. I used to work in an office. I used to drive an hour and a half through traffic, drinking a big milky coffee with sugar in it. Health is one of my highest values. I didn't know that back then. And I'd be eating rubbish from the food court for lunch. I would be eating pasta or pizza or things like that for dinner. And my weight was expanding. And I don't know, I think they call it depression, they call it anxiety, but for me, it was just not being on my path. And of course, I'm grateful for that time because that discomfort is what's led me to what I do today. That example of living that life showed me that I wasn't comfortable in it. But what most of us will do now when we realize we're uncomfortable in our life or our job or our relationship or those big areas of our life, our finances, we shut down and we turn it off and we numb ourselves to it. So there's several different ways that we can numb ourselves. You guys tell me, how do you numb yourself? Some people do it through alcohol. I did it through alcohol for ages. Scrolling, TV, sex, drugs, alcohol, going out and night clubbing, being on social media, whatever it is, you have a habit of what you do to avoid these hard decisions, to avoid these hard conversations with yourself. So the first thing that we want to do, because we want to be gentle with this, we don't want to come into your life and rip it apart when you're already struggling, you're already unhappy. And this is the thing also, you may not be struggling. You might be happy enough like I was for a long time there and like Michelle was in her life, but she wasn't, or I wasn't being true to myself at a really deep subconscious level. So we want to be super gentle with this, and we just want to start to pull apart and dissect. What currently are you doing in your life? What's yours? What are you consciously, you've chosen it all subconsciously from the past paradigms, from other people's values, from what you were taught when you were growing up. But if you could write a story of the end of your life from today to the end of your life and write a book on it and have it be the most magnificent, amazing, radiant, pleasure-filled, fun, beautiful life ever, what would you be doing? Who would you be spending your time with? How would you feel when you wake up in the morning? What would you be doing to create an income? Who would you spend your time with? What would you do through your days? How would you feel when you go to bed at night? You get to choose all of this. And sometimes people shake their head at me and say, are you for real? That's a bit off in the far away for me. I can't do that. Because we feel trapped. We get ourselves into these situations and then it all feels too big and it all feels too heavy. And then you go to a personal development course and they're like, yeah, burn the boats. You got to burn the boats. You got to quit your job. You got to leave your partner. Burn the boats, burn the boats, burn the boats. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can cope with that. That is one strategy. And sometimes it calls for that depending where you are in your journey. But if this is new to you and you're feeling, mostly unhappy on the inside, I wouldn't be saying, leave your job, leave your partner, do this, do that. I'd say, let's just sit in some quiet time and reconnect in with her, reconnect in with yourself and go deeper. And exactly like I said, write a story that this is the end of your life. What do you want? Who do you want to spend your time with? How do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning? How do you want to feel when you go to bed at night? And really dissect that and get really details orientated in all the feelings that you want to have. And then you can expand it and take it a little bit wider, because at this stage, it's only an imagination, right? It's only an idea, but that's where it starts. This is the seed. So step one, you have got to admit that you're not as fulfilled and happy as you could be. Now that's the masses. That's most people out there. Even if you've got awareness, we're faking it. A lot of people are faking it and pretending, not so much to everybody else, stuff everybody else. This is about you. You're faking it to yourself. Usually because we're scared. Have some water. I've got cacao caught in my throat. So the first thing we need to do is get really honest. Get brutally honest to yourself, so you can help start to dissect your life and see where you're uncomfortable, where you're unhappy. And then we're going to go through and ask ourselves those questions. Those questions are like, how do I want to feel when I wake up? Where do I want to spend my time? Who do I want to spend my time with? And then when you start writing all that down, it's like a seed is planted. There's a seed planted, and then you'll start to magnetize and call in other people out there who are doing the similar things that you want to do. So it's really cool because what I'm noticing, I work with a lot of overachievers because I tend to be one a little bit myself, if you haven't noticed. And what I was noticing for a lot of overachievers is they get everything done, but they never get enough done. Like there's always more to do. And the more you do, it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy. Like the more you get done, it just creates a bigger beast. And the more you get done, the more you want to get done. And then the harder you push and the harder you strive, and you're on this hamster wheel. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, people. You're on this hamster wheel and it's spinning. And because you're an overachiever, the faster this thing spins, you're just going to run even faster to catch up. Like run, 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 run. Be more productive. Get more stuff done. Then the more you get done, the more you want to get done. And then the more you want to get done, the more you get done. And then it's just like this vicious cycle. Give me some love, guys. Am I the only one? So recently, in the last week actually, did a meditation where I go deep into the subconscious mind and connect into higher power about being powerfully present and the most productive you've ever been. So being productive, not by running on this hamster wheel, not by getting more done and then using what you've got done or what you haven't got done as a metric for success or happiness. It's about feeling that now and then approaching anything that you get to do in your day from this feeling. So this meditation is beautiful. I listened to it myself this morning before I got out of bed, and it's really about tuning in and fine-tuning what it is that's going to make you happy. So then when you do take action, it's inspired action, and you're not just busy and being distracted by the doing. That to me is unhappiness. If you're super busy, I get it. I can get busy. I like to call it activated now and trick myself a little bit and make it feel more productive. Productive, guys. So what we want to do is be productive, but get more done by doing less. Be in your presence. Now, if you can do this, you're going to feel happier straight away because you're not going to be chasing this moving target. So many of us are chasing this moving target and we just can't keep up. Oh, look, I've all these comments that are coming here. Yeah, hands up, yep. Thumbs up, yep. Went into a job, chocolate. Hey, Serena, good to see you. Shopping and scrolling. Oh, yes, I hear. Not so much shopping for me. I hate the shops. And Helen says, I'm hearing you. Thank you, everybody. If you guys are watching here and you want to come over, those two sisters, time to shine. So all the lovelies that are on here that I can see, I have that meditation out. It should be on your Spotify accounts, those two sisters, and it's called Powerfully Productive by Being Present, I think the name is. Yeah, so I'm going to stop you guys here, finish here. So I'm finding it off-putting talking to two people. So we'll just go next. Posting that for 30 days. And now I'm here with you guys. I feel like I can relax a little bit now that it's just the closed group and it's just all my faves here. And give me a minute. So there we go. Now, this is a topic that I wanted to talk about because there is so many people out there pretending that they're happy. And like I said earlier, oh, where'd you go? There's some things that you can be doing. You've got to get in alignment with your soul purpose. Like if you've worked with me and you're part of the mastermind, you know how to do that. So if you haven't done it yet, definitely go across there and, oops, that's better. Oh, I can see myself now. Well, I did that whole thing pretty much not seeing myself. You can go across there and get really clear on what your soul purpose is. Because if you're not living your purpose, no matter what you do, you're not going to be happy. You're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to feel tired. You're not going to want to go to your job. You're going to be really struggling to make ends meet. So we've got to get you on purpose. So to make sure you go through the purpose process as a snapshot to make it really small. Basically, your purpose is the thing that you missed out on when you were a kid. Your perceived void when you were a little child then becomes your purpose. And then we've got to look at when we're serving people, are we serving people from a place of love and abundance or a place of sacrifice? Particularly in the work that I do, I work with a lot of coaches and a lot of other experts, and some of us are giving from a place of sacrifice instead of a place of abundance. So that means the old mum trick of going without, we're going without in order to see other people flourish. And it's a pattern I see out there amongst us that really plays havoc with our happiness. Because if we can't feel full, if we're filling everything else up first, looking after our kids, our partners, our husbands, our jobs, our pets, our animals, our siblings, our other family members, we can't fill ourselves up first, we're always going to be giving from an empty cup. And I feel like that's just part of our DNA being a woman. And we have to relearn how to fully feel ourselves up. Feel ourselves up, you like that? Feel ourselves up, fill ourselves up before we can go ahead and then support other people in it. Now, this is a root cause of unhappiness. Trying to make everybody on the outside of you happier and happy at the expense of your own happiness. So the other thing I want you to do here is ask yourself, what is happy? What is happy to you? A lot of people will come to me and just say, I know that I'm miserable. I know that I'm not happy. And I'll say, well, what's happiness to you? And they look at me and go, you know, feeling good. And I go, yeah, but what specifically is happiness to you? Because what it is to me and what it is to you and what it is to the next person, it's all different things. So you have to have a clearly defined statement or feeling of what happiness is to you. Because this is the other thing, guys. We know what unhappiness is because we're taught that as we're young, and then we cultivate it and we live it and we pattern it. And so we know what unhappy is. But when I question happiness, I'll know there's not a lot of people, unless they've done this work and worked with me before, they can give a very direct, clear, precise statement of, oh, Gusta sent me a message that says, love ya. And I notice it's 12:22 on the 2nd of June. I'm going to screenshot that. Oh, my hubby, he's a good man. Yes, happiness. See? That helps that I've got the most amazing there. But I manifested him. And it was funny. No, I'll tell you that story another day. So what we were talking about, happiness. Yeah, having a clearly defined statement of what happiness is to you. Because the other thing a lot of us do, we know we're unhappy. We get some more happy vibes in our life, especially if you start doing this work and hanging around this community. And then you get happiness, but there's this perpetual, like, not good enough, not happy thing. So you think you're actually happy, but you actually think you're not. And if you think you're not, you're not. If you think you are, you are. So you want to get really clearly defined what is happy to you. If someone wants to put it in what it is for them, be big and brave and bold and put it in there. What is happiness? And the other question you want to ask yourself is, how do you know when you've got there? How do you know when you've got there? Because once again, people don't take the time to stop. And even you might be watching this and think, oh, that's a really hard question. You try and come up with your answer, or you'll get busy, distracted, answering the phone, texting someone else. Oh, I've got to go now. I need to go to the toilet. But if you want more happiness in your life, guys, it is not rocket science and it is not hard. It's actually so simple. And a lot of you have heard me say this before. It's so simple and it's so easy that most people disregard it. It's about doing the work, plucking out and pulling out, because your soul purpose and your values, they're inside of you right now. You just haven't been taught how to access them. Society and people and the things on the outside of us, it's driven by fear. So all the things are just putting you back into a fear mode all of the time. And then that's the cycle that you're on. Fear, not good enough, unhappy. I'm tired, I've got no energy, I procrastinate. All the thing, you get to choose something else. So if this was me and I was struggling to come up with the answer because it's a new neuron, it's a new way of thinking, I would write down all the things that are unhappy are. And you'll access them really quickly. Unhappy, tell me right now in the comments. Waking up tired, going to a job that I don't like, being in a relationship where I feel unsafe or threatened or stagnant, not having money to pay my bills, not knowing where the next dollar's coming from. All those things, write down all of that, and then you write the opposite to that. And then we can go through and pull it out and dissect it. You can do the purpose process. You can get really clear about your values. If you know where you want to do something and help find out what your values are, what you want to do is look on your bedside table. What's on your bedside table? That will pretty much clearly indicate very quickly what you value. What do you spend your time on? And where do you spend your money? What do you spend your money on? And I like to say, like, if you're in a shopping center, Where do you find yourself? So for me, I hate going to shopping centers. But if I did go to a shopping center, I would always find myself, and this is before I consciously knew what I know about myself, I'd always find myself in the health food shop. A friend of mine would always find herself in the camera shop. I was working in center management trying to become a portfolio manager, finding myself in the health food shop. Do you think that aligned? Hell no, it didn't. Do you think what I do now and what I get to do and be, do and have and spend my time with aligns with health? It is health. What other shops? Op shops. I used to always been drawn to op shops. So the op shops. The first part of me thought, oh, what does that mean about you? And then I thought, oh, that I'm a tight ass. I don't want to spend any money. And I caught myself and going, go deeper. That's part of it. But I also have some really nice pieces and very expensive pieces of clothing. But I wasn't valuing that as much as being resourceful. I love to go to op shops because I like to be resourceful. And so that's a big value of mine, is recycling and being resourceful and repurposing things and being creative, like looking through all the junk and pulling out the pieces that really catch my eye, as opposed to just going into bloody Valley Girl or whatever it's called these days and having it mass made and everyone's wearing the same thing. All right, so here, I love this. So Serena says crystals, switch words, lamp, and a photo of the family. Yeah, that's cool. So that gives you a pretty good indication of what your values are. Crystals, lamp, photo of the family. So your family would be up there. And you said you always go into the camera shop as well, which is pretty cool. So, if I was working with someone and they were feeling unhappy, and then this is what we do. We help elicit all of this sort of stuff, and then we help you build a business around it. That's another reason Michelle and I are so happy most of the time. It comes and goes, whatever, but it's a deep feeling in the pit of our stomach that most of the time we're feeling fulfilled and supported and loved and loving, because we get to invest our time every single day in the things that matter to us. And so what we help women do is then design a life and a lifestyle, relationships, business, your finances around the things that light you up. This was another massive aha moment for me back when I quit my job. It would have been 20 years ago now, and I was in center management. I was just about to move to Sydney to be a portfolio manager, and I decided to quit my job and had a midlife crisis at the age of 25 or something. And I went to all the personal development courses under the sun, and I was standing in front of this group of people. This is before I could speak. I was so nervous. I was standing in front of the group of people, and these personal development course said, what did you love to do when you were a kid? And I said, I love sport. I was an athlete. Any way the body moves and develops and grows. And I loved it. And I still love it to this day. Like, I even did a moving meditation for all my guys over there on Spotify, because I was like, I like sitting for a little bit. But I love to move. And I used to think there was something wrong with me. It's not that I can't sit still and it's just like frenetic energy. I'm just a mover. I feel really free and liberated when I move. And so I created this walking meditation. And these people asked me, what did you love to do when you were a kid? I'm like, I love movement. And I said, well, what about a personal trainer as a career path for you? And the brain starts straight away. Everyone's doing it. There's no money in it. You can't make money doing that, blah, 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 blah. So they had me stand up there in front of 100 people before I could speak in front of people and say, it's 5 years from now. And at this time I had no job. I'm a personal trainer, had no qualifications, just knew that I liked to move when I was a kid. I'm a personal trainer and I'm earning $1,000 a week. And I nearly bloody vomited. I was so embarrassed. I felt like a fraud. I definitely felt like I was lying. Guess what? A year from that day, with no qualifications, and literally that being the moment where, oh, this is a possibility for me, I was making well over $1,000 training people from my home as a personal trainer. And I was so much happier. The next thing for me in terms of my happiness, once I got there, was out on the outside of me before I knew what I'm teaching you now. The next thing I thought would make me happier, I'll be happy when, because now I'm a personal trainer, I'm creating over $1,000 a week in less than 10 hours of work. Okay, I've got this. This is my normal now. What else do I need to feel happy and fulfilled? Oh, family. I'll feel happy when I have the family. Same thing happened. I have 2 beautiful little kids, an amazing husband. I was waking up at that 3 o'clock in the morning mark and just feeling guilty that I didn't feel fulfilled and happy. And it was, for me, impact is such a big thing, teaching you guys and sharing and educating and empowering women to be financially free, to have this awareness about ourselves, to be freaking happy. with who we are and what we've got in here, and realize everything else is exterior to that. I dedicate and devote my whole life to it, and to each of you ladies. So that's where it started for me. So I want you to pull apart what you've heard. I feel like I don't deliver great on these 30-minute things, because as I'm looking at myself, everything's back to front. So it's really confusing and it really puts me off. But I'm going to see if I can change that so I can really be more succinct in my delivery. I feel like it was a bit like off on tangents here and there, but let's just trust that you got everything that you needed to from today, that I've dropped some gold nuggets that you can take away and rinse off and polish and really implement into your life. I'm about gentle, simple, sustainable steps to get you the life and the lifestyle that you desire and you deserve and that you want in your life. Most of us, the masses, we won't even go there. It's too scary. We numb ourselves. But I want this life for you. And I know with full certainty, 100% certainty, that if you are watching this, then it's your time, and your time is now. I have books, I have decks of cards, I have journals, I have jewelry, I have clothing, I have retreats, you name it, I've got it for you to get started on your journey. We've got workshops, 6 Steps to Soul Success workshop. We've got podcasts. You can see I devote my life to this, and I devote my life to empowering, inspiring, and educating you to feel happy and live this life of freedom that Michelle and I have created for ourselves. We are no different to you. The biggest difference is I have known how to elicit my soul purpose and then put small sustainable steps into action every single day to make this my reality. And I can show you how to do that. And then coupled with the community, it's even more powerful. You won't get left behind. We leverage the energy of the community because there's only one of me and only one of Michelle. And where I'm creating a lot. I'm really in a creative cycle at the moment where I just love to create. My second book's coming out. I'm going to go for Amazon. I'm going to submit it for Amazon bestseller. Ooh, so I'll let you guys know when I'm going to do that. And yeah, I want this for you, but I can't do it for you. I can't do it for you. I need you to believe. I need you to access this seed of happiness that is always there for us, that is always available to you. But we just put so many layers of sludge and trauma and fear on the top of it. And we're going to take you next level, baby. So if you want a place to start the podcast, Rise and Shine podcast series, you can go over there. Michelle's is called Soul Stories. Hers are amazing as well. Disclaimer, you're probably going to binge listen to them. We get messages all the time. Oh my gosh, I just binge listened to your podcast. It's changed my life. I've done 64 now. So get listening. Free, doesn't cost you a cent. You can put it on while you sleep, while you walk, while you drive. Also on Spotify, Those Two Sisters, meditations. I've selected a handful of the best ones out from the stash that my VIPs get, and you all have access to them. They are free. There's no charge to that. I just want to give you a taste of what we do. If you're wanting more support, come to our half-day workshop, 6 Steps to Soul Success, 4 hours, where Michelle and I will take you through the next part of we break stuff down and we drip feed you. Then after that, there's so many options. There's Soul School, Soul University, the Soul Mastery Retreat. We've got the Ascension Retreat in Port Douglas in a couple of weeks. Woot. Pretty excited about that. But yeah, so much happening. If you're wanting any of the products, being the jewelry, the cards, the journals, things like that, the shirts, all on our website, www.those2sisters.com. So here's to your happiness, my loves. My cacao's cold because I spoke too long. Thank you for staying here with me if you are watching this later. Hey, Jen, good to see you. Hashtag replay for me so it keeps boosting it up. If it's been valuable to you, pop in down below your biggest aha moment because it helps other people. If you have a statement for your happiness, please share it below. Once again, it's going to help other people. They get sick of hearing me tell them all the time. When you say it in your way, you inspire them. And there's a lot of you on here. Jen, Helen, Sandy, Serena, I'm not so sure about you, Caroline, and a handful of others that are doing, and Jody Michelle Perry, are doing what I do in your field. So get on there and share what happiness is. You're going to inspire people. It's going to add some great value to the call. And I'm looking forward to reading it as well. But I've got to go and stop talking because I've got my next call. I'm doing a guest speaking gig for New Dawn Pilates over at Redcliffe, I believe. So I better go. See you later, peeps.